Ever feel like you blink and suddenly, I don't know, plant-based yogurt is battling it out with a dairy current on the shelf?
Yeah. Happens all the time. Things move fast.
Well, you're not wrong. Today, we're diving deep into exactly that sort of rapid shift. We've got a recent snapshot of consumer news thermostat.
Right. He shared a great collection of articles, and the mission, really, is to look past just the headlines.
Connect the dots.
Exactly. Give folks the essential understanding without, all the overwhelm. Think of it as a shortcut to staying informed.
And this whole exploration, it was kind of inspired by the sort of overview you get from a news aggregator, right? Like consumers.app.
Mm-hmm.
They recently had their Consumers 360 news commentary for April 17th, 2025.
So yeah, our goal is to pull out the key trends, the important news bits that popped up there.
And hopefully offer a clearer picture of what's happening.
And crucially, what it might actually mean for you, for everyone listening.
Okay, let's jump in then. The commentary kicked off with some potential friction, I guess, in international trade.
Yeah, that Bloomberg piece about Tanzania.
Right, considering trade barriers on agricultural stuff from South Africa and Malawi.
What's really interesting there, or maybe concerning, is how fragile these global supply chains can be.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if Tanzania does put up these barriers, you could see real impacts.
On food prices.
Yeah, availability and cost.
Right.
Things like maize, beans, staples. And it could hit, lower income families the hardest.
It really highlights the risks involved in, relying on everything running smoothly internationally.
Definitely. It's a delicate balance.
Okay, so switching gears a bit, closer to home maybe for some listeners, the housing market.
Yes, the DR Horton news.
From the Wall Street Journal on MSN.com, they seem, cautious, revised their outlook down.
They did, citing softer buyer demand, which is interesting.
But also the tariff impacts still lingering from before.
Exactly. It suggests it's not just one thing. It's softer demand and these ongoing costs hitting their spring sales.
So it's a measure of consumer confidence, maybe, for those big purchases?
Could be. Or maybe interest rates playing a role, or people just waiting, hitting pause to see how things shake out.
It's like that ripple effect you always hear about.
Pretty much.
Okay. But on a more positive note, India's tourism sector seems to be getting a real boost.
That was in the Free Press Journal piece on MSN.com. Yeah. The head of the WTTC predicting big things.
Like 10% of GDP soon? That's huge.
It is. And what's really key there is the emphasis on sustainability.
Right. They mentioned that specifically.
It just shows how sustainability isn't just a nice to have anymore. It's becoming central, even in sectors aiming for massive growth, like tourism.
Building it in from the start, almost.
Yeah. Thinking about ecotourism, responsible development.
Yeah.
It's smart business, too, for long-term appeal, and good for local communities, hopefully.
Okay, let's dive deeper into that sustainability theme. Forbes had a piece on Occidental Petroleum acquiring Holocene.
The carbon removal acquisition.
You said that signals a maturing industry. What makes it significant?
Well, you've got a major energy player, Occidental, investing seriously in direct air capture technology.
So technology that literally pulls carbon out of the air.
Exactly. Holocene does that. And this kind of big investment, it suggests there's a growing realization that we can't just cut emissions.
We also need to actively remove the carbon that's already there.
Precisely. It feels like a step towards these technologies becoming more mainstream, less experimental.
That makes sense. And staying on environment, physicist.org reported on a mathematician identifying unsustainable development patterns.
Yeah, linking them to climate vulnerability. Very timely, with Earth Day connections.
Sounds like a data-driven warning call.
It kind of is.
Yeah.
Using mathematical models to show quite clearly how certain ways we build and develop can actually make climate change impacts worse.
So providing hard data for policymakers.
Right. Underscoring that need to shift how we do things.
And Forbes also had something on building sustainable supply chains, not just for good PR, but as a competitive advantage.
Totally. It's moving beyond just corporate social responsibility.
How so?
Well, consumers increasingly care about this stuff. Transparency, sustainability, they look for it.
So companies that get ahead of it, build it into how they source materials, manufacture, distribute.
They can boost their brand, attract those conscious consumers, and maybe even find cost savings through efficiencies. It hits the bottom line.
We even saw a specific example, didn't we, in Uganda?
Oh, right, the independent piece. Centenary Bank partnering with the National Forestry Authority.
To restore a forest reserve in Masindi.
Yeah, a really concrete local example of different sectors, finance and environment working together, pooling resources for restoration.
it shows it happening on the ground.
Definitely.
Okay, let's shift focus a bit. Personal finance and tech. Forbes again, talking about AI.
Reshaping financial inclusion, yeah. In the fintech world.
How's AI actually making a difference there? Is it really helping?
Well, the idea is that AI can analyze way more data points, different kinds of data.
To assess credit risk for people the old system might have missed.
Exactly. People may be underserved by traditional banks, so it could open up access to loans, insurance, other services.
Which sounds great, potentially very empowering.
It does. But, there are always the other sides. Data security, algorithmic bias. Big questions to grapple with there.
Yeah, definitely a double-edged sword. Okay, let's move into health, wellness, lifestyle. Lots going on there.
Always.
HuffPost UK on MSN.com had vegan Easter dinner recipes.
Yeah. Shows how mainstream plant-based eating is becoming, doesn't it? Even for traditional holidays.
It's not so niche anymore.
Not at all. Driven by ethics, environment, health. Whatever the reason, people are exploring it, and there are tons of options now.
And speaking of options, the Times of India compared whey versus plant protein powders.
And Petit Chef on MSN.com compared plant versus dairy yogurts.
So much choice. These comparisons must be helpful.
I think so. Helping people figure out nutritional profiles, what fits their needs, making informed choices.
Okay, lifestyle stuff. Daily Mail on MSN.com had this piece about sprightly boomers.
Oh, yeah. Working well into retirement. Like 70 is the new 50.
Kind of. And it connects that survey on the Cool Down, also on MSN.com, about older adults using alternative transport more.
Yeah, they seem linked. It paints a picture of, an older generation staying active, engaged, healthier for longer.
Which changes things, right? For workforces, cities.
Absolutely. And the kinds of services needed, like better, more varied transport options.
Then there's longevity travel mentioned on Money Control.
Yeah, travel focused on rejuvenation, wellness.
Alongside guidance, also from Money Control, on using yoga nidra and mindfulness for managing hemophilia.
It all points to a bigger focus on holistic well-being, mind-body connection.
Proactive health, maybe?
Yeah, and integrating different approaches. Complementary therapies alongside conventional medicine.
And quick hits. Times Now on MSN.com had natural remedies for summer headaches. Always useful.
Definitely practical.
And beauty trends. Skin icing from Essence. Lip care emphasis in India Today.
And those Korean jelly nails in British Vogue for spring.
It's such a fast-moving area. Always something new.
Reflects diverse influences, new techniques, all sorts of consumer desires.
And finally, Time E on MSN.com discussed a new weight loss pill.
Always a big topic. Potential impacts on health.
Generates a lot of buzz.
For sure.
Sure.
But important to look critically, right? Potential benefits versus potential risks, long-term effects.
Absolutely. Okay, wow, that was a lot. Looking across all of that, what are the main themes? Can we pull out 3 key takeaways?
I think so. First, definitely that acceleration around sustainability.
Across the board.
Yeah, it seems like it. Consumer awareness, business focus. It's in agriculture, energy, tourism, supply chains. It's becoming fundamental.
Okay, that's one. What's number 2?
Second, I'd say the sheer impact of technology, especially AI.
Like in the fintech example.
Right. Transforming access, potentially changing how we all deal with financial services, and likely other areas soon too.
Okay. And the third big takeaway?
I think it's the shifts in consumer behavior around health and lifestyle.
The vegan recipes, longevity travel, boomers working longer.
All of it. It points towards people being more proactive, more informed, more holistic maybe, about their well-being, diet, even how they approach aging.
Those are definitely significant trends. So for everyone listening, maybe pause and think.
Yeah, how do these things actually touch your life?
Are you consciously thinking more about sustainability when you buy things or plan trips?
Or how might AI and finance change things for you personally down the line?
And are you seeing these shifts in lifestyle, wellness, attitudes, I don't know, among your friends, your family, or even in yourself?
Just reflecting on that connection between the big trends and our own lives can be pretty insightful.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for unpacking all of that with me. It's always fascinating to connect these dots.
My pleasure. It was a really interesting set of stories to discuss.
Right. Okay, so we'll leave you all with one final thought to chew on. We've talked about so many seemingly different shifts today. Tanzanian trade, Korean nails, AI and banking, how we view retirement. With all that variety, what single underlying force, maybe a human desire or a societal pressure, do you think is a thing driving all these changes in our consumer world?
Ooh, good question.
Something to think about.